entertainment, current events, and Hollywood. Don't miss Creator to Creators, hosted by the filmmaker Meosha, known for the Shudder hit documentary Horror Noir and the acclaimed film Anatomy of an Anti-Hero, Redemption. This show features interviews with filmmakers and creatives from around the globe. Join the fun with guest celebrities and gain valuable insights. Subscribe now and follow Creator to Creators.
Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of Creators to Creators today. Today, we have a special guest.
Marcus Parker.
Marcus Parker. I love it. I love this whole setup that you have right now. And you're in your office and just I love it. Glow and just the shirt representing. It's so cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, we're starting out 2025. This is the very first interaction of 2025 for me. And I'm excited. You know what I mean? So we're starting out the new year correct.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I always love going back to the beginning. I always say the beginning kind of charts our trajectory in life, like our little habits that we pick up along the way, follow us through our adulthood. So tell me a little bit about your childhood. What was that like? What was baby Marcus like? And have you always been kind of like an entrepreneur? And how did you kind of start and, and where you are? That journey is interesting to me.
So, I mean, it's even more interesting if you knew. So I'm from a little small town called Port Arthur, Texas. Small town, real, kind of country, if you would. And I joined the military when I got out of high school. So I was always like a little nerd dude who used to hook up car stereos and stuff, right? So I was the guy, you remember back in the day, the booming systems and stuff like that. I used to do that, right?
Amazing.
And I also used to cut hair.
Oh.
So my mother was like the type that she didn't like sending me to the barber shop. So she said, if I go buy you some clippers, can you cut your own hair? So I said yes. And that turned into me cutting like everybody in the neighborhood's hair.
Amazing.
So, yeah. So, I did that when I was in school. I had jobs. So definitely was always a hardworking person. But when I joined the military, I was like this real electronics guru because I started installing stuff when I was a young kid. So when I got professionally trained on how to really troubleshoot and how electronics works and stuff, I became really, really good.
Amazing. That's so cool.
So
and thank you for your service, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. I appreciate it. So part of what you see on the wall are some of my Air Force, commendations and, awards for troubleshooting and stuff like that. Wow. So when I got out of the military, I was pretty much recruited out of the military because it was 1997 and they were starting to work on a new thing. And that new thing was smartphones.
Amazing.
So imagine, they didn't have anything like this in the 90s.
Wow.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So they were hiring electronics gurus like myself to work in the semiconductor industry so that we could, troubleshoot these machines that they were going to use to develop the new technology, which was going to be smartphones.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yes. So I got rich in the process because our stock and stuff. I worked for a company called Applied Materials, and they would sell equipment to Texas Instruments and Motorola and whatever. So I got a chance to fly as far as Taiwan, troubleshooting electronics and stuff. So later, let's see, how did that lose my course? So basically, I got rich in the stock market. I was a young millionaire, when I was in my 20s. I bought my third house by the time I was 25 years old type deal.
That's amazing. I always say too, when you're in your 20s, and that's what it kind of goes to show you, not everybody is really good with money because most young millionaires, they're going to go and just
right. And I was that one, right? I admit. So anyway, 9/11 came. You remember in 2001, 9/11 came. I ended up losing all of my stock money.
Whoa.
Right. Ended up going through bankruptcy, foreclosure, repossession, all that stuff in that time frame. And so I came out of it in 2004. I wrote a book called The Product. So The Product was my life story, how I started, told everything about my life up until that point. Yeah. And so the product became a local bestseller.
Nice.
Now check this out. Imagine it also made it on the bestseller list with, if you could see like this guy right here and this guy, my book was on the bestseller list. I was the paperback nonfiction local.
Nice.
And Barack Obama's first book, Dreams from My Father, was the national paperback nonfiction bestseller at the
Amazing.
time.
That's
Right.
incredible.
Now, here it is. Imagine this is 2005.
Right.
2008, that guy becomes president of the United States.
Right.
So funny, so this is the kind of stuff that kind of happened to me. So, I started after I wrote my book, people started saying, can you come to my class? Can you speak to my school? Can you do
Yeah.
that thing? So I started on a path of being like a motivational speaker, and I hadn't even planned that. I was
Right.
just somebody telling a motivational story about how I had started here, little, became a millionaire, done all this stuff, and now I'm going around speaking.
Yeah.
So then a teacher tells me, you know what, the kids, used to be hard, because now remember, this is all before social media.
Right. Right.
And
Exactly.
I have a clip in 2005 of me being on a show called the Esther Davis Show. It was February of 2005. I'm talking about my book, and that's the same month that YouTube was founded.
Yes.
Right. So I mean, just to show you how closely aligned. Now, later on, I ended up starting to make motivational rap music as
Mm.
to transition, because the messages, it used to be very difficult to keep their attention
Right.
at school, but guy just standing up there, here's my book, and I'm talking to them. And it's like, we don't want to hear that. But when I started rapping, be yourself. Hope you're feeling what I'm saying in the song, just be yourself and you can't go wrong.
I love
Then
it.
they started paying attention and standing up and yelling and whatnot. So it kind of became cool. So I became Mr. Motivational Rap from
That's
there.
amazing.
Crazy, right? Until in 2014, I get remember World Star?
Yes. Oh yeah.
World Star, right? Well, if you go back and search M positive on World Star, I was booed on World Star. Like, oh man, nastily. People like, nobody want to hear this positive stuff. If you're not talking about selling dope or, to get money,
Right.
nobody wants to hear this, right?
Right.
So I went through that 2004. I said, you know what? That's fine. I go back to school. I joined the military, so I never got a chance to get my bachelor's. I went back to school then, and basically I worked for this company. They were Eternal Water Heater, and they
Mm.
had this hybrid new electronics water heater, and the Property Brothers wanted it in their house. So I got a chance to go to the Property Brothers house and do a little section on Property Brothers at Home in 2014.
Nice.
And finished school. I finally learned about emotional intelligence when I went back to school. I got my bachelor's of applied arts and science from UNT, and
Nice.
I really focused on emotional intelligence. This was something I had never heard about my whole life, right?
That's I preach about that all the time. That's something a lot of people don't have.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so when I found it, remember, I was a master technician. I could troubleshoot anything. It's been from Dallas, Austin to Taiwan to troubleshoot machines. And I remember a guy at my job said, you know what, Marcus, if you could learn how to fix people, you'd be a billionaire.
Right.
Right. So
Right.
I was so good at, fixing, electronics, but, I was very bad with my emotions. I had gone
Mm.
through, emotional issues and stuff like that. And I was really, really had a hard time really figuring out how to just maintain.
Yeah.
So when I got emotional intelligence in my, in my tool belt, I basically used it, and I wrote a book called Find the Lie, Fix the Problem.
Mm.
And that was my, to me, the best thing I've ever written, because what it did was it combined everything I did in troubleshooting with emotional intelligence, combined it together so I could show people how to fix their own emotional traumas and triggers from the past.
That's a big one. Yeah. That's
You
huge.
know what I mean? So it's kind of like how to fix your emotions.
Yeah.
So that was, and as I grew in that, I knew I had something, and I used it like to really kind of, make me happy, because I don't just act like this. I really have dug inside of myself to find all of the bad stuff that I need to identify
Right.
and, pull it to the forefront.
And that's
So
a huge thing. Like just what you just said is just so it's so vital. I think that that's an all-encompassing thing, right? That when once you have that and you're okay with looking at yourself in the mirror, like the good, bad, and ugly,
yes.
essentially, then can you elevate even more on such a,
Right. I
such a
started
level?
being able to take accountability. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? Like learning that it's not about blaming and playing the blame game. It's about
right.
looking at yourself and trying to make a better version of yourself. And
Mhm.
you're only competing against one person, which is you.
Yeah, it's true.
Excuse me. So from there, I basically I would say about 2 years ago, I built my 3D printing lab.
Yes.
I started going through something where I was like, it's like, what do I really want to do? I was getting older as far as like going to schools. Much younger people can do stuff like that. My books had, gotten older on the shelves. So I wanted to really do something new.
Right.
So for 2025, I re-released marcusparker.com,
Nice.
and I have 3 free ebooks on there. I
Awesome.
don't even ask you for your email address or nothing. You can go right to my site and download them.
I love that.
One is a sampler of how to fix your emotions for anybody going through emotional triggers and don't know like how to, get over when they start thinking about something, or say something goes on television that reminds you of something in your past that was
Hmm.
dark or hurtful. And
Hmm.
then you start feeling your blood pressure and all that stuff changes. It
Yeah.
teaches you how to look for that and dig in yourself and fix it.
Yeah. I love
Not a substitute for counseling. I mean, not a substitute for therapy or nothing, but
right.
it definitely helps you move in that direction.
I love that. I love that. That's beautiful. So what mode like, because that's the thing, when you're that's a really I have a question for you because it's like
Yes.
I'm curious of like all the things that you've done and like you said and what's next, right? How do you keep, is it at that point not topping yourself, but it's more so like what fills your cup?
Right.
Is that
You
how you
know
look
what?
at it?
And it's humbling, like the wall behind me.
Yeah.
It's humbling to me because it's all the things that I've done. I remember when I first wrote my book, I thought when I would write it, like you would get like a direct call from Oprah and she would immediately put you on and that would be it. Right. And then I
Right.
realized it doesn't happen that way.
Right.
You got to work. And the marketing part is the hardest part of the
Huge.
whole thing.
Yeah.
So
So true.
when I learned that, one of my songs, I Choose Happy, ended up kind of lightweight, not really, but kind of going viral on TikTok.
Love
A
that.
bunch of people use it on the background, real uplifting song.
Yeah.
And so in last year, I created Glowkeyrings. So I, like you can see my 3D printing lab behind
Love
me,
it. I love it.
all electronics kind of guys. So like stuff like this, I
Awesome.
sell like key rings and they glow in the dark,
Oh, that's cool.
right? Like this one is actually an NFC tag. When you tap it, it'll take you to whatever
Oh,
website and it glows in
nice.
the dark so you can find it, right?
Oh, that's dope.
Man, so, and I got one coming to you. All you got to do is send me your address and I got one
Okay.
for you.
I'll
Yes,
definitely
ma'am.
promote it on my social for sure. Heck yeah.
Absolutely. Appreciate you. So,
Definitely.
and that's really it. I'm a dad. I just recently became a grandfather.
Oh,
My
congrats.
daughter just recently gave birth, so I'm happy about that.
I love it.
Uh, and we just continuing. So I'm excited because now I can reach people without having to do a whole lot. Like I said, when you go to my website, there's also a free download of the Ultimate Life Training Workbook, which is
Nice.
for people who are going from say teen to adult or from young adult to, grown up. It's like it teaches you stuff like time management, uh,
Huge.
learning to be yourself, all that, those little nuggets that we really need that a lot of times you don't get them
Hmm.
until you get that mentor in life who teaches you about, never say I can't. Like
Mm.
example, like, did you know, and I've been wanting to say this on a podcast forever, but do you know that your words are so powerful that if you
Yes.
talk to a glass of water, a plant, or even a bowl of rice, if you talk to it bad for 30 days, it'll start to ferment and whatever. But if you talk good to those same elements, they'll blossom.
Yeah.
And
Oh
so
yeah.
our words and our vibrations are powerful, but it's just like we take it for granted. You know what I mean?
Yes. And that's so true. I'm such a believer on mantras like positive affirmations and speaking things into existence and over your life and over things and situations.
Yes,
Sickness, that goes for sickness, that goes for anything, I believe.
absolutely.
Because we are a product of what we say, you know.
Absolutely.
Now it's so crazy, right? It's like if I knew what I knew now, I would have did it. Like I would have started really early.
Exactly. Exactly. But you look at you now, you're doing it, right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
who knows, this could be our Shannon Sharp Cat Williams
Hey.
interview, you know what I mean?
Heck
That
yeah.
goes super viral. Because
Absolutely.
I mean, I used to do a little show on Instagram called the Dose of Motivation Spotlight, where I used to I would, find different artists very similar to your platform, but I would do it on a green screen and pull it up. But it was harder. I did like maybe 50 episodes or so.
Nice. Nice.
And I really would like to, now that I've gotten a website together. Like I said, you got your free audiobooks on the website, but I'm sorry, the free ebooks.
Yeah.
But I also have the full ebooks and audiobooks for sale on Amazon and Audible as
Nice.
well.
Nice.
So people can reach out to me, for that. But on the Glowkeyring side, these guys, I have an Etsy store where people can buy them individually.
Okay.
And or you could go for fundraisers, like people who want to buy like their own logo. I can make them for
Oh,
schools or fraternities
I
or
love that.
sororities and whatnot. So we just do that. So I just finally figured out a way to merge all of that history of electronics and geekiness and turn it into something that I like doing, right? Because they say if you
Absolutely.
can find something that you like to do, you never work a day in your life.
So true. That's real. I love that. I have a fun question for you.
Sure.
And there's no wrong answer.
Okay.
But the three levels of influence: money,
Okay. Yes.
power, and respect. And if you could choose only one, which one would you choose and why?
Oh, respect, definitely. Because I mean, we're thinking perfect world, right?
Right.
So we're gonna say if you do something admirable,
Yeah.
that people would respect it, right?
Right.
And so I would say that because that's where like my journey started. Like you think about you're meeting me, I have over 80 something songs, all positive, no curse words in none of my music, over 5 or 6 books, all motivating,
Yeah.
all uplifting and whatnot. And I've been speaking in schools forever and doing that, but nobody knows me.
Wow. Wow.
So when I would say, I've worked it where, I've had, money for, depending on different things. Somebody could have bought Bitcoin on accident and have a
Right.
lot of money, but you
Absolutely.
couldn't buy the wall behind me for any cost in the world because
Mhm.
all of those were experiences that were done step by step by step. And I think that's where this, a lot of times our microwave generation, if you would, everybody's looking for immediate gratification.
Yes. Yes.
And nobody wants the honor of taking the journey
Yeah.
is not there anymore,
No.
right?
Yep.
And so that's why I'm coming out in 2025 because I want to bring that back. I want to bring, when you look at how can you take away from a dude who has actually done it, right?
Right.
For a
Yeah.
long, 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 long time. And and I respect so many other people and I love whenever I meet people, I get respect back. So that
Yeah.
would be my answer.
I love that. That's a great answer. And you're right. It is. We do live in like a very microwave society, and I think it's social media's fault. Like I love social media, but I also have like a love hate relationship with it. Like we have to be on there for what we do,
Right.
promote, and like you said, marketing
Yes.
is huge. But sometimes you have to kind of step away and like get in touch with nature and like hear from God
Absolutely.
directly so that he can your next step in your journey.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely. It's too much noise
it
going
is.
on. And that's why so many people like I have a happy marriage. My
I love
wife is
that.
my best friend. We have
Oh,
a great time. We go places, we do things, but all of that had to come from sacrificing and learning and
Yeah.
checking myself, taking accountability for me.
Yeah.
So when I go recently, I went to one of the. Have you seen the what do you call the tonight's conversations where they?
Yes.
I went to one of those when they came to Dallas, right?
Nice.
And so I
Nice.
got a chance to meet everybody. It was super inspiring, and I said, it really kind of, it put a fire under me to say, wow, everybody that I met had been like, wow, you've been doing this long? Like, but it's like we live in a world now where you don't measure this, you measure likes and views and
Oh,
followers. So it's like, so when I meet people, you know what I mean? It's like, wow, they
yeah.
couldn't believe it. Like, how could you have done so much and not have 40
Yeah.
million followers? And it's
Yeah.
like pretty easy, actually, because I started out telling you when I was on the news already
Hmm.
and the February of 2005 and when YouTube started.
Yeah.
YouTube was another one of those. We used to get a million little startup type companies like that, but
Yes.
they took off and it used to even have a social media aspect. It didn't look like it does now. It used to
Oh,
have
yeah.
like MySpace. You used
Yes.
to have your little face up there and you would follow people back and forth
Oh,
on
yeah.
YouTube. So it
Yeah.
wasn't a TV like it is today.
Yeah.
So I just said, this year, Marcus, I got myself together and
Okay.
really, really came to grips with the fact that if I'm gonna push what I have out there, I would have to do it like different. And podcasters like yourself are like the new DJ.
Thank you.
Right? Well, back in the day, you could only get on the radio if the DJ, or
That's true.
we had to bring our tapes or CDs to the radio station so we could try to get on the radio. And
Right.
now you got to try to get on podcasts if you want people to see you.
It's so interesting. Yeah, you're right. It is a big thing. Like podcasting is huge. And and that's a new wave now of social media. Um, and
Right?
I've noticed though, it's because I actually started this particular show during the pandemic and kept it going.
Okay.
But I've had like many other shows, like in-person shows over
Right.
maybe 15 something years, different shows I've done. But
Right.
this one I've stuck with because I really like meeting people like yourself and
Thank
hearing
you.
about the
Cool.
journey and just hearing about, because I learn a lot, like the things that you learn, the things that you put out and that you are happy and excites you. I feel like it ignites me in some way. So
Right.
it's the same kind of joy from it as well.
Exactly. Because once you start to learn that, like, you solely are responsible for your happiness.
Yes, yes.
That's why of the 80 songs, the only one that ever really, really made an impact was the one called "I Choose Happy."
Hmm.
I would love for you to play it, for
I
your
will.
audience,
I definitely will.
definitely.
Definitely.
But it just talks about all of those things. Like we search in life for happiness when
Yes.
it's already there. We just have to look inside of ourselves.
Yeah.
And you said a very good point with the uh how social media has changed everything around, and it's like nobody is, how can I put this? Um, hmm, how do I word this? See, I lost my train of thought. Um, I forgot. I had a really good point, and it was coming. And, when
Bring it back
I dug
anytime,
too deep,
anytime.
right? But like, I mean, it's just like we have so many distractions. And what
Yeah.
I was gonna say was when I started in the semiconductor industry, there were no smartphones.
Hmm.
So what happens is when that flooded the world,
Yeah.
people were not ready for that type of pressure.
Yeah.
Like, there are gonna be all kind of therapies to get people off of social media and whatever, because comparison is a thief of joy.
It is.
And
Wow.
people look around, so you only see people's highlight reels. And
Yes.
that's why I tell my story, man. I've been down, out, but I went through many ups and downs along the journey,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And we never know if there's more. You
Mhm.
don't know what tomorrow is going to present. But
Yeah.
it's when I speak, I tell people life is really 90%, I'm sorry, 10% what happens to you, 90% how you deal with it.
That's so true. Yeah. Well, how do you how do you like, with writing and I because I literally just got a part of a like a writer's group couple some years, like maybe 2 years ago, and I was
Okay.
terrified of writing. As a filmmaker, I went to cinematography school, and then after that, directing, and people were like, "Are you writing things?" I'm like, I don't know. I've always been like really kind of shy when it comes to writing, but then I joined it. I was like, I definitely faced my fears.
Yes.
How did you like just because you've written so many things? Did you just like have you always been that kind of person that's like, I'm just gonna do it and whatever comes and however it flows, it flows?
Not at all. I'm gonna tell you what ended up happening was I started the first book. It took me like over 2 years to write,
Wow.
right? Because I
Wow.
started on it. I would have like a notepad like this, and I would have like a couple pages, and I would lose the pad, or it would be, I wouldn't even know where it would be for a couple months. Then
Right.
I go back to it. So at first it was very, very difficult, but now like emotional intelligence is so key,
Yeah.
and it allowed me to stop wasting so much time
Mm.
on other things. Like a lot of times we want to stop and like impress people. Like we
Right.
always feel like, like that is going to elevate us. If I'm
Mhm.
impressing you, oh, look at what I have. Look at my car. Look at my this. Look at my, like, we get stuck in that world. And that's what social media is. So it's like you're looking at everybody seeing their highlight reel.
Yeah.
And you're that way people start to feeling like I'm not doing
Like
enough.
enough. Yeah. Yeah.
So you look at people, and a lot of times what you're being compared to is not real to begin with, right?
Right. Right.
There's a post, and I had it saved, but it was a picture. It showed what social media really is because
Mm.
we were not ready. There should almost be a class you take to prepare yourself for social media
Mm.
because it's so emotionally draining if you're not already put together. You got to be strong to be able to look at everybody and be like, man, I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you. Man, that's good. Keep doing it. Yeah. And people think that, you're being fake, but it's like,
Right.
no, once you come to grips with you
Yes.
really feel like that. Like, I don't want to see nothing but other people succeed and succeed in real life, not just
Yes.
in an illusion. Because I got pictures, man, where I was standing out with the Rolex on and making, I've done all
On
of
the
that,
yacht.
flexing. But
Yeah.
and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't want to make it seem like I'm saying, oh, there's nothing wrong with, there's something that's wrong with somebody showing their success. That's not it. But if you're doing it because that's what you want to do,
Right.
but if you're doing it for that person that's looking on social media, then you're not doing it for the right reasons.
You're
If you're
right.
going on vacation just because I want to take a picture to show
Yeah.
somebody, then you missed the whole thing. You missed all the fun, right? If
Right.
you bought a car just to show it off, then that's not it, right?
Right.
I want to buy a car because it makes me feel good and it makes me
Exactly.
comfortable. I want to wear
Exactly.
clothes because I like it and it
Yeah.
makes me feel comfortable. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's the point. That's where I want to take it, you
I
know?
love that. I love that. Absolutely. And I think a lot of people got to like, that's a really good reminder for just everyone. Just like be happy for you first, just like
Yeah.
find that happiness in you first. And then, yeah, that like you'll be happy for others. And that kind of, this is a whole nother subject, but that actually just to touch on it a little bit would bring me to like a topic of like, in our community, that's something that I noticed I've in this business that we're in particularly um I it's almost like I see it a lot where we don't take what we do seriously.
Right.
Does that make sense? But we'll take someone else outside of that more seriously than our own stuff, and like we
Right.
can't actually elevate together. And I feel like I want somehow we have to change that mindset collectively.
It's a
But
function. What you just
another thing.
described is a function of self-hate, right?
Mm,
It's like, I mean, like culturally, we have been through so much and we're just getting to the grips of emotional intelligence and
right.
really, and I'm talking about within the last 100 years, nobody talked about that. You could go look in the books. This is relatively new to
Yeah.
the universe, right? I mean, as
Mhm.
far as like us putting it in structure, I'm sure, they had it ancient set up somewhere, but
Yeah.
for us, it's relatively new mindfulness, us being aware and accountable and stuff
Mm.
like that. And it's like this year, if depending on, how much what's the word, how many podcasts I end up doing, or whatever, or how many different people I end up meeting, how many views, or however it happens, I know that I started it with the right mindset, right? I started
Right.
with I had the right energy going
Yeah.
into what I was doing. I wanted to have my websites complete. I
Yeah.
wanted to have cool stuff. So when I meet people, everywhere I go, I have, things that people really, really like.
Right.
And you know what I mean? And it's cool. I'm not competing with anybody. I
Right.
have,
You set that tone. Like
right.
yeah.
And I love to go to people's, events. I love to support stuff when other people are doing things because I mean, it's like if I can get you to feel about you the way I feel about me, then then you will be just as happy for me when you
Right.
see me as I am for you because I don't want
Agree.
to do anything but root for you. That's it.
Love that. Yeah.
Right? I
Yeah.
just want to see you do better, man. I'm happy. You know what a blessing it is that we got through coronavirus. So I've
Right.
lived through 9/11 and survived. A lot of
Yeah.
people didn't. We
Yeah.
lived through Corona and and survived. A lot of people didn't.
Yeah.
We're still here, starting out a new year. You know, pushing a new, like literally pushing a positive agenda out for this to start the whole new year off.
That's right. That's
That's
great.
amazing.
It's
You
amazing.
know, I saw a scientist said, if you really thought about how the likelihood that you would be born is, you would think completely different about yourself. It was like
Right.
a billion other yous that didn't make it.
Right.
But here it is. I'm the one that made it through all of those things. And I think our life is like the journey of the beginning. You go
Yes.
through and what do you evolve into? So
Right.
we're still here. And I'm
Still
going to celebrate that every day because I realize there's so many negative things that could have happened. You know what I mean?
love
So
that. Love that. What if, oh, I could talk to you all day. This is so
I,
fun. Um, I'm like, you're
I
taking me to
appreciate it.
church. I love it. um, what what advice would you give to those that want to start their entrepreneur, journey?
Well, I would say you have to do it for you. You literally have to, if you in your mind, because a lot of people do it because I was talking to somebody and one of my friends said, you remind me of such and such. Or they
Right.
were watching a show and they saw somebody who reminded them of you and they said, you could be a realtor. Oh yeah, I can just see you now. And and people, we take those nuggets and we run with them a lot of
Yep.
times. And
Yep.
the thing is like, meditation, you got to really get, really looking within yourself and seeing what makes you happy, right? I
Yeah.
use the example like the body. Like, I'm so glad that my nose doesn't get jealous and say, I want to hear.
Right.
I don't like that the ears get to listen to music and do all that because I need you for this specific job, right?
Right. Yeah.
And that's how we do in life. We don't see ourselves as a part of a body.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
you're doing so when you see somebody sing really, really well, you know that they're doing exactly what the gift that they got, you know that they are showing it. When you
Yeah.
see somebody who is really, really uh good, at some particular thing, you can see like, oh yeah, because my nose would always fail if it was trying to be an ear.
Right. Yeah. That's so
And our mouth would always fail if it was trying to be an eye.
yeah.
But they all have a purpose and they all are great at what they do
That's
if they
right.
could only be content, within themselves.
I
And that's really where we are. That's how that works.
Wow, that's such great advice. That's real too. Where can people find you on social media to follow
Okay.
everything you got going on?
Well, marcusparker.com, where you can go to the website. Remember, you got 3 free audiobooks. I mean, sorry, 3 free ebooks. I'm not asking for their email address or anything. So one is for aspiring artists who want to get their music played in backgrounds online. One is for people transitioning from teen to adulthood and, getting those tips in life. And the other is for emotional healing and trying to fix your emotions. So I hope that everybody can download the free ebooks and enjoy them. And
Yes.
if you like what you hear, please go to my site and order the audiobooks and the ebook. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's how you can show support. You can watch Grown Folks Business it's a mental health album on YouTube. Grown Folks Business, only 30 minutes, but it's powerful. Like 9 songs, all motivational and powerful. And if you want to just get with me on the Glowkeyrings, these can be done if you want to make some money for your school or church or organization. Reach out to me at glowkeyrings.com. So it's either marcusparker.com or glowkeyrings.com.
Love that. Oh, awesome. Thank you
and
so
much. And I'm motivational rap on Instagram.
Okay, motivational rap. Okay, we'll make sure we have all that
yeah.
in the description and all your tags and links. This is so fun.
Appreciate you.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your just positive energy today. It's always good. And thank you for my first episode for 2025.
Thank you.
So
thank you.
I'm very grateful.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. Please, I'm saying thank you for wherever you share it, the people you share
everywhere.
it with. And I just really appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you all for listening. And always remember to live, love, laugh. We'll see you guys next time.
Yes.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I choose happy, even when this life gets hard. I choose happy, still I keep my faith in God. I choose happy, even when emotions get scarred. Don't let your problems change the person you are. I choose happy, even when this life gets hard. I choose happy, still I keep my faith in God. I choose happy, even when emotions get scarred. Don't let your problems change the person you are. See, I know I'm not the only one to live with the issue. Like when the person you in love with don't even miss you. Like when the job you really wanted don't even pick you. Or you trusted someone then found out they wasn't with you. See, it's a long, hard journey, this thing called life. And that goes for the children, the husband, the wife, the cousin, the uncles. Ain't nobody excluded. That's why I wrote this song, to keep you grounded and rooted. Looking towards the future with your eyes on the prize. Know it's a blessing just to be here, cause many done died in 2020. Man, I swear that year was a beast. And I've been around since 74, a O to the G.